Human resources and money.
Human resources and money.
It's human resources, money, and time.
Swiss esports improved a lot in recent times. We got a big new tournament in the Swisscom Hero League, and we got big companies investing into the Swiss scene, like for example BRAC, Postfinance, and as already mentioned, Swisscom. The scene definitely grew, and it keeps on growing, but there still are a lot of problems. Plus, there haven't only been good things happening in the Swiss scene in recent times.
My name is Remo, and tonight we're gonna talk about a little bit of a sad topic, the disband, so to speak, of Silent Gaming's esports teams. Die Kernaussage bleibt allerdings, Silent Gaming wird in der Zukunft keine E-Sport-Teams und Spieler mehr in diesem Sinn anstellen. Wir haben uns entschieden, das eigentlich nicht mehr zu machen, aus mehreren Gründen. Einerseits ist es sicherlich auch Quickline, der abspringt und ein finanzielles Loch hinterlässt. Dann jetzt aber auch andere Gründe, die fast ausschlaggebender sind. Einerseits ist es ein bisschen die Undankbarkeit der Teams. Wir haben nie wirklich das Gefühl gehabt, dass, sagen wir, 60% der Teams das wirklich haben auch positiv angeschaut, was sie bekommen, was sie machen können. Es wird immer wieder Zwischenfälle geben. Das ist ein anderer Grund. Ein weiterer Grund ist eigentlich auch, dass wir im Management viel weniger Leute sind geworden über die Zeit durch jetzt. Wir haben zwar im Staff ein bisschen aufstocken, aber im Management haben wir doch auch so ein bisschen einen Krach gehabt, sagen wir es jetzt mal offen. Durch das haben mehrere Leute eigentlich gesagt, sie haben keine Lust mehr oder sie möchten nicht mehr Teil von Silent sein. Und dann noch ein weiterer Grund ist einfach eine andere Ressource, nebst der Geldressource natürlich. Das ist die personelle Ressource, wo wir einfach nicht mehr stemmen können, was an Arbeit bei uns ist aufgeleistet worden.
Meiner Meinung nach liegt es aber sicher auch an den Spielern, weil es ist nicht so, als hätten wir es nicht probiert, teilweise auch Videocontent und so zu machen, und dort müssen sich die Spieler im Schweizer E-Sports schon noch ein bisschen bessern, was Professionalität anbelangt. Also Deadlines werden selten eingehalten und ja, es ist einfach schwer, an so Content herzukommen. Sie sind sich nicht so bewusst, dass es heutzutage einfach braucht.
Hands down, you're overpaid. You're hardly overpaid. Like, it actually hurts how overpaid you are compared to what you actually do for the organization itself. And if to that you add a behavior on social media that's that bad, it's just not going to work out for you ever.
In June of last year, Silent Gaming closed its doors for esports teams because of the reasons you have just heard. Silent Gaming was one of the biggest Swiss orgs, and in my opinion, no other org managed to match Silent Gaming's success and establish itself as a clear second biggest org. But why though? What is holding the Swiss orgs back? What are the problems of the Swiss orgs?
My name is Zischler and I'm the organization manager of SOS.
My name is Chira and I'm the president of Arctic Gaming.
Hello, my name is Bratishka, or Claudio. I am the president of Bubbles Gaming. Hi.
I've sat down with 3 org leaders and talked to them about the problems of the Swiss orgs. Let's hear it from them.
Human resources and money are, in my opinion, the biggest problems here in Switzerland for the esports scene. Since you don't have people that want to work for free, and you need money to get the people that want to work, right? Being it players or being it players, people in the management or else in the organization.
When we look for people, like one big issue is no one does want to like do the stuff. Like social is kind of the one place where we have some people that applied, but usually people in social they want some money, and we don't give any money for volunteers because it would be unfair to the ones already working. That's one issue, and it's really hard when we're looking for someone that does some coordination stuff. It's not really popular to do that, so that's another big issue. Not only the money, but people only like certain topics. And people who have like a passion burning themselves, people who are able to do stuff with a lot of self-initiative, they usually end up creating their own projects or their own orgs or something. So that's actually very sad to see. There are a lot of orgs spawning and everyone has the same problem. Everyone has like this lacking human resources, and there's just spawning more and more.
People have to have time too. They have to have take their free time for esports, and it's not always fun work, of course. To motivate the people, to manage the people, that's probably the hardest part about human resources for me in esports.
Finding sponsors in Switzerland is pretty difficult. Most companies just are really old school and don't really understand esports yet.
The sponsors are still very careful about where to invest their money in esports. They don't know. A lot of sponsors, a lot of marketing people in companies have no information about esports, right? They just know the numbers, they just know the stuff you find over Google.
Especially if we have like shooter games, many companies are quite allergic to that, or used to be. I think it's getting better.
And before Corona or before COVID, it was more or less just the budget from the marketing. The budget was already distributed in other projects. And in Switzerland, a lot of companies focus on offline events, which means Zurich Game Show, Fantasy Basel, Hero Fest. So they want to see work in that. They want to see money in that, marketing in that. And they had not much interests at the beginning in sponsoring an esports organization.
Content is definitely a problem. If you don't have the content, everybody's just doing their thing, basically, and it doesn't go out there what is happening. If you just invest a little bit into content, I think it could show the sponsors, it could show like some non-esports people what you're doing is serious and professional at some point. But without content and just hidden things that go on in the scene, it's really not possible for people to know what's going on.
Content is missing in the Swiss scene, and it's missing a lot. So it's hard to do a lot of content. As editor yourself, you surely know how many hours go into editing a video or making a good video, not just editing. So cutting a video, editing it, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, mostly you need to have a video editor, you need to have a cameraman, you need to have someone that wants to like organize the videos, and you need to have players or influencers, whatever you want to call them, that want to be in front of the camera, right?
Players that didn't want to do content, I think in the Swiss scene it's an issue. I think also Silent talked about it, that players aren't really willing in their experience to do content.
So Remo is right. There are players, also rejected players who wanted a lot of money or wanted a lot of attention, and that's not realistic.
Players, in my opinion, didn't know their worth. If they do now, I'm not sure. Some players have really high expectations and think they're worth much money, just because they look at, how much this person is doing, how much this person is getting, but they don't know if the other person is getting overpaid, right? But they don't see how the organization is getting any money of this, right? They don't see how this is even sustainable, because it isn't. Most of the organizations here in Switzerland just don't have a real budget, or they have just the management that pays for this, but that isn't sustainable.
Yeah, the players are definitely overpaid in some aspects. I think to even think about the salary in the Swiss scene right now is laughable. It doesn't work. We
had beforehand 2019, 18, we had teams come here, Swiss second league division teams, and saying, we want to have 500 francs per month to play in your organization. And I'm like, well, you don't make me any money. You are not really playing very good. And you want to have 500 francs per month? Well, that doesn't work like that.
A lot of players expect a huge level of professionalism from the org, but are not really ready to provide the same in exchange. But it is kind of silently accepted that an org should be very professional, should have contracts and jerseys and everything, but the players, it's not really the general consensus that they have to be the same. So they have to be ready for content making, they have to be very sportsmanship-like, etc.
So I think that the tournament organizer should also do more content, of course. Or maybe they're doing on short-timed content, only 2-3 weeks before the tournament starts. But I think there is a pre-time even earlier, and also after time, which you can use to do some good content to keep up or keep growing the tournament scene. But I also think that the tournament organizers should do more in competition. Competition is the interesting part, right? Everyone wants to be the best. Everyone wants to reach the best stats. So I think tournament organizers should focus on stuff like MVPs, on like KDs, like more stats from the teams and from the players in the tournament.
Content that, for example, TCS is doing, they are usually making a trailer with all the orgs and players inside, and it is great visibility for the orgs. So if a tournament organizer decides to do some like professional content, it favors the orgs as well in the end. It's very good marketing for us.
That's something that helps everyone, because tournament organizer gets attention, players get attention, the orgs get attention, and the viewers get content. So that's something cool. The viewers get to know the players, and everyone gets content, right?
That would be like the idea from tournament organizers. They should use more some stuff like exclusive invitationals. You see it, for example, on the Red Bull in Lucerne. They do something. They invite people or players or teams directly. That's a really cool stuff. They should like award the active esports organizations in Switzerland with like exclusive seatings, for example, or registrations, and also, of course, always to make open qualifiers. That's also important. Everyone has to get a chance to enter the tournament, of course. I would be happy to see like the appreciation from the hard work as organization from the tournament organizers with like exclusive spots.
Or maybe they could just force the orgs to provide jersey pictures, like that they push this aspect, that they basically make it not possible for non-org players to provide the same level of professionalism quality. That could also help. I mean, it would be a little more work for the org, but I think it favors the org in the end.
We've just heard the three org leaders talk about some of the biggest problems the Swiss orgs face. They mentioned a lot of difficulties and also mentioned how some areas could be improved. And because I didn't want the video to be only negative, I've also asked them to say something positive about what has happened in the Swiss scene in recent times.
In future SOS, what we're doing is like, we want to do many cool things like content, as we did with the Valorant team, in that regards, interviews, funny videos like shorts, and also do tournaments again when Corona is over, right? Smash tournaments as we did, and maybe some other tournaments and other games. So we want to do much cool stuff, and yeah, get more people involved in the Swiss scene. That's the main issue we want to tackle, and we want to have the Swiss scene.
I think ever since the Swisscom Hero League, especially in the CSGO department, came in, something really professional grew in the Swiss scene in the CSGO topic, basically. The Swisscom Hero League just forces a little bit of that professionalization from the players. They also favor you if you have like a jersey and a good name. That's really cool that the Swisscom Hero League professionalized a bit CSGO. Another positive thing would be that for us, we have more volunteers, because in the times of Corona, I think people sometimes were a bit bored and rediscovered like their passions in esports or gaming, and then this helped us, for example, to grow. And there's a lot of people who like to help, like, hey, can I do some website stuff? Hey, can I do some content? And that's really cool. In Arctic, we had a really positive year. Actually, we grew in the management and staff department. We also had a lot of players, and we're looking out for good teams, and we are in conversation with good teams. So that's really cool to see our org coming together again after this Corona crisis. Also in the department of content, we had a big lack, and now there are finally some things planned to make up for that. So we are looking at a really, really great Arctic year. And I'm very hyped.
I'm optimistic and in various points already, and that also reflects for the future for esports, of course, in Switzerland. And that's about tournaments, more interests from the public, from the general people, let's say, companies and other investors. That's growing, that's important. People outside of esports understand that esports is not just some gaming or some nerd stuff, but it is some kind of sports, at least. So the understanding of esports is growing, and it will grow in the next generation, and the next generation even more. So we are going, of course, we are going in a good direction. I mean, Bubbles Gaming was always great. Bubbles Gaming was always a cool organization. We grew a lot. We are always growing, and we will grow even more. And I'm pretty sure Bubbles Gaming will be in some years the biggest, maybe even the best Swiss esports organization.
Like we've just heard, the org leaders have big goals, and I think that they are overall positive about the development of their orgs and the Swiss scene in general. Now for the end, I've asked them to tell me their wishes or messages for the Swiss scene, and now you can hear them as well.
Keep up. We have to focus on the real esports titles. We have to focus on the players who are willing to grow, and we have to always be in an educational path. So you also always have to be ready as an organization to educate your players. You have to help them to grow, to understand how you get professional, because being professional doesn't only mean to be good in that game, right? You have to be also show yourself in a good position to all time in the public, for example.
So I think the orgs should sign more long-term teams instead of like the best teams that are on the market, and really invest into their building rather than salaries and just short-time goodies. Invest into the team by buying a coach, get the equipment, get the servers, provide them maybe with financial help if they can't play otherwise, but not just for them to have a salary, but really to build a team. You have often this situation where players have those high expectations, but I think the fault is mutual. Like the org doesn't communicate very clearly what they expect, or they don't write it very clearly in the contracts. So one thing would be to make clear contracts. Join the SSF and get the contracts from them. I'm just kidding. No, make clear contracts and clear the expectations beforehand. And I think this could just clear away all that nonsense that has happened in the past with the misfit of expectations.
That's also like a content part, of course, but it's in always I think there should be more banter. There should be more tagging each other. There should be more. For example, the biggest part I see is, always see like G2 tweets. They're like the best example, right? They're fucking with Fnatic all the time, right? But they're brothers. They love each other. They're good with each other. They're just fucking with each other. But every time G2 tags Fnatic gets reach, gets clout. So organizations should help each other with the reach, with the clout, with planning, with events. So I think that's a big part in which we can grow. I would like to mention for the other esports presidents, organizations, they should keep up. They should work. They should not stop. If they have some issues they cannot solve, they should contact other presidents. Since we all have the same issues, some of us have already solutions about those problems, and maybe others don't, right? So there should be maybe a platform. I think SSF is working on it, for example. They're doing, by the way, a better job, a great job right now, and there should be a lot coming. But I think that a lot of esports presidents, organizations, they should connect more with each other and try to solve those issues together.
The Swiss scene is, in my opinion, pretty cool. It's like a small family, everyone knows each other. You can just talk to the people and get some help. It's something the Swiss scene has, and that's pretty cool.
Thanks for watching. The video ended on a positive note, even though the overall topic wasn't very positive. I hope this video will get some discussions going and help out the Swiss scene, as this was my goal for this video. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you'll watch another video of mine in the future. Thanks once again.